She was Adam's first wife, made from the same earth, not his rib, and she refused to submit. So, according to some ancient texts, she left the Garden of Eden willingly, shouted the secret name of God, and became a demon who haunts newborns and men in their sleep. Wait, what? That woman's name is Lilith, and if you've never heard of her, it's not by accident. She's been scrubbed, erased, and demonized for thousands of years by the same patriarchal systems that embraced Eve. But Lilith never really went away. From ancient Mesopotamian amulets to Renaissance witchcraft to modern feminist icons, her story is a shapeshifter, banned from the Bible, but never fully silenced. So why did religious authorities work so hard to bury her? Why does she keep coming back? And where exactly can you still find her, lurking quietly in holy texts, grimoires, and even pop culture today? Buckle in. This is not the Sunday school version of Genesis. Lilith wasn't removed from the Bible because she was never officially in it to begin with, but she almost was. And that's where things get wild. You'd think the Bible was carved in stone, but no. It's been edited, curated, and argued over like a medieval group chat with too much wine. And Lilith? She's the ghost in the footnotes, the woman who wouldn't behave. And the men in charge made sure you wouldn't hear her name unless they wanted you afraid. The earliest known version of Lilith doesn't come from Israel or Christianity. It comes from Sumeria, 4,000 years ago. There, she was called Lilith, a wind spirit who brought disease and death. Not ideal. But over centuries, she morphed. By the time the Babylonian Talmud rolled around 3rd to 5th century CE, she was described as Adam's first wife who refused to be beneath him, sexually or otherwise. Instead of obeying, she invoked the unutterable name of God and flew away. She literally pieced out of paradise over principle. That's when the smear campaign began. But wait, it gets weirder. The book of Isaiah, yes, the actual Hebrew Bible, mentions a creature called the Lilith in Isaiah 34:14. One line, a throwaway in a prophecy about a ruined kingdom. The night creature shall rest there. That's it. One word, one reference. And yet that one word became the hinge for centuries of legend, theology, and fear. By the medieval period, Lilith had fully evolved into the baby-stealing demon of Jewish folklore. She was the one who killed infants in their cradles, seduced men in their dreams, and birthed demonic offspring. Mothers in the 17th century Europe wore protective amulets not against wolves or plague, but against Lilith. Because of course they did. And here's where things really flip. In some early Jewish mysticism, Lilith wasn't just feared, she was studied, described in texts like the Alphabet of Ben Sira, which openly tells the tale of Lilith and Adam's failed marriage. In it, when Lilith leaves the garden, 3 angels are sent to bring her back. She refuses. The angels threaten to kill her demon children, and Lilith replies, "Fine, I'll kill your children instead." That's the birth of the legend. Yes, the first woman became a night demon because she said no, and it only gets darker from there. By the time Christianity got hold of the Hebrew texts, Lilith had become too hot to handle. The early church fathers couldn't delete Isaiah, but they sure as hell weren't going to include Ben Sira in canon. So Lilith disappeared. Not by mistake, but by design. Eve was obedient, Lilith was rebellious. Guess who got canonized? And yet, she didn't vanish. She survived in whispers and warnings. In medieval art, she's the snake in Eden. In Kabbalistic texts, she becomes the queen of demons, consort to Samael. In Renaissance grimoires, she's invoked by sorcerers. One 13th century Spanish text even describes how to summon her using menstrual blood. Yes, that was an actual recipe. And she shows up in places no one expects. Michelangelo painted her, half woman, half serpent, wrapped around the tree of knowledge. because nothing says sin like a woman with power and a snake's body. But here's the twist. While mainstream religion kept Lilith in the shadows, folk tradition kept her alive. Ashkenazi Jews in Eastern Europe kept using amulets engraved with the names of the three angels from the Ben Sira story, Sinoi, Sansonoi, and Samangeloff. They'd hang them over a newborn's crib to ward off Lilith. She was real enough to protect against, even if the rabbis stopped talking about her. Modern scholars now think the Lilith story reveals something deeper, the anxiety around women who don't conform. She wasn't evil, she was independent, she made her own choices. That terrified people more than any demon could. And of course, modern movements reclaimed her. By the 20th century, Lilith was back, this time as a feminist icon. The 1970s saw the rise of the Lilith myth in feminist literature. A woman who rejected a patriarchal order, who refused to lie beneath a man. She wasn't a demon, she was a role model. In 1972, Judith Plaskow's groundbreaking Midrash reimagined Lilith and Eve not as rivals, but as sisters. The 1990s gave us the Lilith Fair, an all-women music festival. And today, she's tattooed on arms, referenced in books, and summoned in occult TikToks. Yes, Lilith made it to that weird corner of the internet. So where is Lilith now? Still everywhere. Just not in your Sunday school version. She appears in Islamic folklore as a demon named Iblis's wife. She pops up in the left-hand path, modern witchcraft, even Kabbalah-themed yoga retreats. Her archetype shows up in every story where a woman refuses to play the role assigned to her. She's Lady Macbeth, Medea, even Maleficent. Her spirit lingers in every femme fatale, every hysterical woman trope. And yet she never got a book of her own. Isn't that fitting? She's the one who walked away. She didn't need a garden if it came with rules she didn't write. And while men tried to chain her into fearsome folklore, she kept shifting, demon to muse, seductress to symbol. Maybe the reason Lilith still shows up is because she never belonged to any one version of the story. She's what happens when a woman refuses to be edited out. So the next time someone tells you Eve was the first woman, ask them, what about the one who left? Because she didn't vanish. She adapted. She survived. And apparently, she still shows up when men have trouble sleeping.